Fellow film fans, what up? It's your boy Tay, and this is Tay Talks Talkies. And today, I'm going to talk about Amsterdam, David O. Russell's latest film that he wrote and directed, starring some actors, maybe you've heard of them: Christian Bale, Robert De Niro, Margot Robbie, Anya Taylor-Joy, Rami Malek, John David Washington, a couple others I could name. With a group of actors like this, what could go wrong? Let's talk about it. Alright, let's just start with the bad. Let's get that out the way. The plot. I think two words that perfectly describe it is meander and convoluted. It meandered along and it was convoluted. It didn't feel like it was really getting anywhere specific. It kind of just felt like things were happening, which made things happen, which made things happen. Nothing felt that inspired. Nothing felt that motivated. And I think that's the biggest problem I have with this whole film. I didn't necessarily feel anything too deeply. And when I watch a film, I want to feel things deeply. And Amsterdam, it entertained me, but it didn't make me feel things deeply. So the biggest hindrance to this film being a good film is that. I think good films should be dangling carrots throughout and then paying it off. I didn't really feel like any carrots were being dangled necessarily, and definitely no payoffs happening. So I didn't feel rewarded at the end of the film. And you should feel rewarded at the end of the film. You should feel like you actually accomplished something. That's what a good film should do. So the biggest thing that held this film back was the plot. Now, I'm by no means saying it was a bad script. I'm just saying with an arsenal of actors like the one David O. Russell recruited, I need the script to be amazing. Because when you have an ensemble of the magnitude that they had for this film, you want to optimize that with an amazing script. One that has scenes that are going to be memorable. And my biggest knock, I guess, is that there was no memorable scenes. All the scenes felt like, okay, all right, but nothing felt like,
whoa, I'm going to need to process that for like a week.
There was none of that. So that's the biggest thing that held this film back. So again, not saying the script was terrible, not saying the plot was awful, but convoluted and it meandered. It felt like it was not sure what it wanted to be. And when a film's not sure what it wants to be, when it's not committing to a certain thing, how can you expect the audience to really invest in the way that the film wants you to if it's not even investing in itself the way that it needs to? And now that we talked about the plot being convoluted and meandering, let's talk about the good things about this film. Let's talk about the actors and the characters that were written for these actors. I think when it comes to performances, Christian Bale steals the show. His performance as an eccentric doctor who is a veteran from World War I, definitely interesting. He has a Johnny Depp type of vibe in this film. I think it's the exact type of role we're used to seeing Johnny Depp in, but Christian Bale did it amazingly, and I think he has proven himself to be one of the greatest actors of our time, and certainly one of the greatest character actors of our time. So definitely Christian Bale is a major highlight of the film. Margot Robbie was wonderful. I think she's always wonderful in pretty much everything she does. Along with being impossibly beautiful, Margot Robbie was fantastic in this movie as well. I've never seen her not be fantastic. She's one of them actresses that I always know is going to bring her A game. And this movie's no different. She was great. Christian Bale was great. One thing that I do think is interesting is that John David Washington keeps getting major roles. I'm not saying he's a bad actor. By no means is he a bad actor, and acting is no easy thing, I'm sure. However, he is not a good actor, in my opinion, especially when he's being contrasted in scenes with Christian Bale and Margot Robbie. It's really obvious that he's not that great of an actor, and he plays the same exact type of character, that stoic, quiet type of character in almost every single role. So it's one thing if that was a choice, but I think that's just how he plays characters. I think that's just maybe how he acts. So, not knocking you, John David Washington, but I think maybe add a little more nuance to your performances to really make you compete with these other actors, because these other actors are just as good as it gets. Another performance that stuck out like a sore thumb is Taylor Swift in this film. I know how she keeps getting acting gigs. She's one of the biggest stars in all of Hollywood, but again, acting is not easy. And I'm not even saying she's awful, but she is not a good actress. And again, seeing her contrasted in scenes with not only some of the greatest actors of our time, but of all time, it makes her stick out. So just to get some extra seats in the theater isn't really worth compromising your film's quality. I will say though, her character arc, loved it. Fantastic character arc for Taylor Swift in that film. Don't want to give anything away, but amazing. Then we have Rami Malek and Anya Taylor-Joy as a married couple, and they are fantastic. I'd say right after Christian Bale and Margot Robbie, they are the performances to really watch. They are amazing. Everything that they do and say on screen, I was enthralled. They were one of the few things in the film that really had me actually invested. Anya Taylor-Joy is just fantastic in everything. I mean, it might have something to do with the name Taylor, but she is just fantastic in everything I've seen her in. So keep casting her, Hollywood. She's great. Another on-screen duo that I absolutely loved in this film was Michael Shannon and Mike Myers, the Mike Boys. The Mikes! They were hilarious. Their characters, birdwatchers, spies, they were hilarious. And I wanted to keep seeing more and more of them. There was a cop duo, and I felt like the one partner was hilarious. The way they wrote that character, he was peculiar and he was hilarious, and I wanted to see a little more fleshed out from him. But unfortunately, we didn't get that. And Robert De Niro is Robert De Niro. He's such a legend, and he was pretty good in this role. It's not like he was giving a great performance, but he wasn't giving a bad performance. Real quick, I want to talk about the costumes and the set design. I think they did a great job recreating 1930s America. I felt really enthralled into that setting. I felt like I was a part of that world, and I think that was one of the biggest strengths of the film, was making me feel like I'm a part of that world. Unfortunately, it left me longing to explore that world even more, but not in the way that the director chose to spend the 2 hours and 15 minutes. I wanted to explore that world in a different way. But nevertheless, that's a testament to the world building that was accomplished in this film. Now, I want to talk about the number one strength of this film, the number one reason you should go see it in theaters if you are going to go see it in theaters, and that is the appearance and the look of this film. The cinematographer, Emmanuel Lubezki, he's responsible for The Revenant and Birdman. He works with Alejandro Inarritu a lot. He hasn't done a film in a couple years, so him doing this film was exciting. His cinematography and the way he captured that 1930s world, absolutely gorgeous. I thought that was the strength of the film, and the reason that I really kept invested in the film was the appearance of it, the way it looked. If I'm being honest, I don't think it's possible for a human to look as beautiful as Margot Robbie did in this film. Emmanuel Lubezki so perfectly captured her beauty. I mean, I couldn't take my eyes off the screen when she was on screen. I have never seen such beauty captured on film. She is stunning. Along with her, Anya Taylor-Joy, every time she was on screen, absolutely breathtaking. I mean, she is a gorgeous girl, but she is so great at acting. Those two things combined, same thing with Margot Robbie, you cannot take your eyes off the screen, and that combined with the beautiful look of it all, with the great costumes and the great backdrops, that was the strength of this film. In addition to those two lovely ladies, I have to talk about Zoe Saldana. I love Zoe Saldana. She is so gorgeous, and again, the way that Emmanuel Lubezki captures her beauty on screen is just breathtaking. So to see these three amazing actresses on the big screen, the way that they are being painted on screen is a work of art. So that's my biggest praise of the whole film, is seeing those lovely ladies in all of their big screen glory. There was one interesting thing David O. Russell was trying to do, where a character, when they're speaking to other characters, they'd be framed head on in a close-up shot, so it felt like they're talking to the audience. I thought that was interesting. I didn't think it was executed to its full potential, but I thought that was an interesting premise, not something super original, but I did like the way it was used. But again, I felt like it could have been used slightly better. But I thought that was cool because it felt like the characters were talking to me. And you just can't help but feel a little more invested because of that. So I thought that was a cool little trick. But all in all, Amsterdam was an interesting film, an attempt at creating something beautiful. But I feel like something might have went wrong. I feel like this is not necessarily the thing that David O. Russell envisioned. Because again, the ending didn't leave you feeling inspired. It didn't leave you feeling really anything of much. And the convoluted things that led up to it kind of left you asking, am I missing something? Am I not connecting the dots properly? And I've had that issue before in David O. Russell films, but I feel like it was pretty prominent here, and that's really what held back the plot for me. So, David O. Russell's Amsterdam, I think because of the actors, you could go check it out in theaters. but it's not necessarily something that demands to be seen in theaters if you're into good plots, good stories. Now, if you're into just being entertained and something aesthetic, I think this film could be for you, and I think it could be worth seeing in theaters. So just to condense everything into a couple statements, I think it's a solid film. I think if you want to go see something in theaters, this is probably your best option for the next couple weeks. It's beautiful, the actors are doing a great job, and it does have a story to tell. But where my letdown really stems from is when you have an ensemble cast of this magnitude, I just can't help but expect something a little more. If I had to put a score to it, I'd say it barely squeaks to a 6 out of 10. But that's all I got for you guys. David O. Russell's Amsterdam. Let me know what you think. Go see it yourself. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the damn things, and I will see you guys soon.